All right, let's talk about Werewolves, which is an indie movie directed by Stephen C. Miller from Briarcliff Entertainment, small indie company. This movie stars Frank Grillo as Wesley Marshall, and he is the man of action when the entire earth is confronted with a mutation that turns people into werewolves. And I mean not the Lon Chaney one. I mean the ones that look like half wolves, half man, upright standing wolves. Mean, practical wolves. And there's a super moon that is affecting the earth that is about to turn almost 1 billion of the population into wolves. This is set up in the first act. We meet Dr. Aranda, played by Lou Diamond Phillips, our cast of characters that will be confronted with a global crisis. We're talking, this is the Walking Dead or World War Z of werewolves, the way it's built up. So it's not just like typical werewolf movie. We'll deal with, there's one person who's a werewolf. Who is it? Whatever. Could be your friend or dad or whatever, usually the dad. In this it could be your neighbor, it could be your friend. What's going to happen? Are you mutant? Do you have the mutation or not? So it's they have to survive the night with 20% of the Earth's population turning into werewolves, which ends up being like kind of a night of the living dead, lock yourself in the house, hope you survive type of situation. And while the story and premise is extremely ambitious, we have never seen a werewolf film like this, which is, I think, why it's called Werewolves, plural. It really fails to get to that level. I imagine something much greater, like I said, with that premise. When they say 1 billion people will turn into werewolves worldwide. Well, where is this insane influx of people? And then it adds a sort of moral thing where when people become zombies, they're already dead. So when you kill like your neighbor or your relative, your mother, your father, and you kill them once they've turned to a zombie, they're not turning back from a zombie to a human. But the idea that people could turn into werewolves, you randomly kill one and it turns out to be someone adds a whole other layer of drama, or so I thought. And I know I should not be projecting what I had hoped the movie would be on the actual movie. Just judge it as it is, and I will judge it as it is. This is a streaming movie. It should have gone direct to streaming. Something if I had caught it on Shudder would have been, well, that was fun. But it's getting a major theatrical release today, and it really sort of fails to shine or fails to live up to the premise that the movie itself set up. And while I like Frank Grillo, and he goes full Grillo in this, he's man of action. He's a manly man of action. So I quite like Frank Grillo. And Lou Diamond Phillips, I've always liked him. So good cast. But I'll say they really shot themselves in the foot with a silver bullet by not living up to the premise that they began with. And I mean, the action is pretty much by the numbers. The werewolf stuff, seen it before. What I've not seen before is something that's on the scale of World War Z with werewolves, which what they really emphasize it too. Like people are preparing for the night. It's going to be scary. And they pretty much deal with a couple of werewolves, but not what I imagined would be an influx of werewolves. So I think the problem is in the writing and the setting up that premise. So I can't recommend Werewolves. Probably give it a 5 out of 10. And the 5 is really for the cast. So a disappointment for me. If you got to see everything Werewolves, this will be on your list. But this failed to shine by the light of the moon, as it were. There you go.
So did I hear it wrong? This takes place basically in a single location?
No, well, most of it, once it gets to the
When
action,
nightfall comes.
yes, then you're dealing with, one location and whatnot. But the world is, they deal with it. There's like this lab. There's Frank Grillo's family's home. Like they're dealing with a lot, but it isn't like what they said. Like 1 billion people are turning into werewolves. Where's that?
Yeah, you see a dozen maybe.
It didn't go there, and I was hoping it would. So
basically just another werewolf movie
with a great premise, because most werewolf movies, let's be fair, I've seen a bunch. I've seen a lot. Seems like it always falls to me to watch the werewolf movies. You're dealing with one person who's becoming a werewolf. It's revealed who they are. It's related to the characters. Do you kill the werewolf, but you're then killing the person that is a loved one or a neighbor or a friend? So it adds a moral layer to it. And this could have dealt with that, and it didn't. It's sort of a global threat zombie thing, but with werewolves. And I expected more. It's the budget does seem kind of anemic. Like they really shot for the moon, but couldn't pull it off.
Oh, that's a shame. So yeah, a great idea, a great foundation of a story that ultimately transforms into the basic werewolf trope.
That is the AI synopsis of my review.
It says I came up with it. Yeah. Real intelligence.
Yeah.